When the city still lies in the darkness and tranquility, we, bakers, on the tip of toes, leaving houses, trying not to make too much noise so we don't awake others.
Good morning, so I'm about to leave. It's around 3:40 a.m. So I'm so lucky that I live very close to the place. So I'm not using my bicycle. I give it a rest and I will use it afterwards. I'm sure a lot. Lots of seabirds. It's actually very, very peaceful. Just listen.
So once we change on the way to the kitchen, we take trolleys with bread and pastries, as the walk-in fridge is based downstairs. It's really not a problem to move things around, as we have an elevator here. In the last few days the fridge was not operating really well and the temperature inside was higher than usual, so the bread is more than ready to be baked. A lot of things happen at the same time, as at least 3 bakers start the day together. So let's try to do everything together today, so we see a complete routine. Pastry trolley traveled with us upstairs too. So the first thing is to send pastries to the provers. Only not laminated dough pastries go to the rational prover. Brioche dough and beautiful cardamom buns. We also have some space in the under-oven prover cabinet, so we use all the space and move on with the laminated dough pastries to the separate prover. As I am arranging the pastries, another colleague is doing the starter refresh, as she will mix the breads in a bit. On one side of the kitchen we start with the cardamom buns. The dough is made freshly every day, and the reason why it tastes so beautiful is that it has a few components, so that makes the dough a little bit more interesting but not complicated to make. Dry ingredients were scaled yesterday, however, for example, butter and other wet ingredients gonna be done now. So we put aside butter and start with milk. Then we crack some eggs and take some old dough scraps. When I say old, I mean from yesterday. On top of that we add roux, which is made 2:1 ratio of hot water to white flour. Okay, what's left? Yeast, and finally to mix everything together. So wet ingredients hit a bowl followed by flour mix. In this kitchen for the first time I saw equipment helping to lift the mixing bowl. It is actually very nice, as we physically no need to handle heavy weight. As I mentioned already, the bread is proof more than usual today because of some technical problems with the fridge, and they're more than ready to go to the oven. One very simple thing I want to mention: it may seem that the baker is landing these breads into the oven effortlessly, but actually it is heavy. It is a good example of years and years of experience and development of strong arms and back. Also, scoring for each bread is slightly different too. Here we have different sourdough breads. The one with bran, with sesame seeds, and one more with soaked old bread with beer. After slowly all breads have reached the oven, we clean the baskets, as today we will prepare the bread for tomorrow. The baskets have some leftovers of bran, seeds or flakes, and still have some moisture inside. So we're gonna do a daily cleaning. It is quiet, manual, but fast in a way, because we brush them with a simple brush and leave them to dry until further use. Kitchen without music and morning coffee is unimaginable. So since the music has been on since we came, it's time for cafecito. My colleague fetched a fresh batch for us, so we can take a minute and enjoy it. I actually realized that in every day in the life I mentioned how amazing it is to have a cup of coffee in the morning. So even though I work in different countries, this habit or need has remained the same. Now we're going to move on to a very important part too, as Danes love this pancito for breakfast, so we need to make sure we have them on time. This is a baguette dough, which will be divided into smaller pieces. Generally speaking, this is a high hydration dough, so to prevent the dough from sticking, we use different toppings. We start with the corn or polenta. At the moment, big loaves of breads are still in the oven, so we're going to leave the pieces on the smaller trays. So in this way, we will also give some time for the bread rolls to relax. In the blink of an eye, the bread is done. So the oven gets emptied and now we're ready to do the round with the small rolls. Then, as with the big loaves, we do here sesame seed and poppy seed rolls. All of these rolls are really flying out of the bakery, as very popular Danish breakfast is this type of roll with some cheese, for example, and coffee. I have seen it in so many places in Copenhagen. The beauty is in its simplicity. And to be honest, what is not to like? The bread tastes truly amazing. Here's the part that was very interesting for me, brioche finishing. So once they prove and get baked, still hot out of the oven, rolls get brushed with egg wash. We do the same here with cardamom buns. The rule is that it has to be done really fast, so the egg kind of cooks, leaving a nice shine. It is also important to sprinkle some cardamom sugar straight away on these buns, as otherwise it won't stick. So to me it was really interesting to see this technique. Cardamom buns in Copenhagen, and I guess I could even say the whole Nordic region, is such a successful thing. So many bakeries are doing them. However, the beauty of it is that in the end they are slightly different, so every bakery is proud of their own cardamom buns. The croissants are done here with a lot of thought and dedication, so a light touch of egg wash, and let's quickly remember how to check if the croissants are proofed enough. So they have doubled in size, they wobble, and the gaps between the layers kind of open, so that's the sign of sufficient fermentation. Nice. They get baked in the rational oven and I cannot keep my hands away from them as I'm so excited to try them. And yes, the flavor of these croissants is really rich. It is not a massive production here, but I love that here the dough is made using Danish flour and in addition to yeast, some sourdough starter. Now, one of my favorite pastry ever, the Danish pastry. Here we punch the proof dough down, dipping fingers in water so we avoid kind of sticking dough situation. When I recorded this video, it was a rhubarb season, so we top the pastry cream with some jam and with the whole trolley we push them inside the oven and bake all at the same time. Once they are done, we spray them with sugar syrup and top with crushed pistachios. Then admire for a bit how beautiful they are and send them to the counter. When you think about the specific pastry in general, it is so simple: a piece of dough, cream and various toppings. However, the end result is truly mouth-watering. We also do some savory pastries. Here we have some wild garlic swirls with infused garlic oil. It also has some sesame seeds. Once they bake, we top them with grated parmesan. Anyways, we will see in the afternoon how we prepare them from scratch. Here we have pain au raisin topped with honey syrup. Finally, the version of fronsnapper. Since I'm in Denmark for a short time, I want to try as many things as possible. So poppy seeds, marzipan, frangipan, and sesame seeds. Sweet! Actually, the whole counter is getting full. Well, it has to, because the bakery opens the doors at 7:30 am. I actually saw some people trying to get inside at 7 am. People really like to start their day early here, huh? Well, I don't blame them. The street starts to smell like bread and pastries from early morning. I cannot move to another job without paying tribute to focaccia. There is something special about it. My Italian colleague is handling the dough today, so he will bake it and will pass it to the chefs in the kitchen to make sandwichitos. So now whatever we bake today, we're gonna do everything again. My colleague who is mixing all the batches for today's production has finished with a rye bread mix, so we're going to portion it for tomorrow. However, we baked quite a few loaves today already in another oven, as they take a long time, and it's better not to disturb the baking process, as this bread has a lot inside, like different seeds, so it will take some time to bake evenly. We will do the preparation for this bread later today, so you will see exactly what I mean. So slowly we will shift to the preparation. even though the production and baking for the counter is kind of happening at the same time. It was impossible to capture all the details. So here we have already mixed brioche dough, which we will portion for tomorrow's bake. One, probably the most important note about rolling brioche in general, is putting sufficient amount of pressure. Too much pressure will tear the dough. Not enough pressure will result into ununiform buns. It is as simple as it is. You need to hold the roll between your thumb and fingers and just move it in the circle, gently but relatively fast. As it bounces off the inside your hand, it gets round and tall. In the next video we'll continue the day with some more preparation, lamination, bread shaping, and so on. Before I go and we meet in the part 2, I want to leave you with some of my thoughts. If you ever end up working or living here, don't take away from yourself the chance to get to know the city and its surroundings. At least I took this working holiday as a chance to get away from the city and give my soul and my body some rest.
I don't even know how many kilometers I cycle every day. It is beautiful! Isn't it awesome? Oh my gosh.
It is very easy to get into routine traps, but in a country like Denmark, I feel that people have such a deep connection with nature. I think I found what I was looking for. Have a look. It was beautiful to watch and feel it myself. As always, I have way too much to say, but as of now, thank you so much for watching and see you next week.